10 years ago, I had just finished university, landed my first job, and finally saved up enough for an IEM. Hybrid IEMs were really quite rare back then, and I was pretty excited to experience the unique qualities from such multi-driver setups. My first hybrid IEM was the Dunu DN2000, a single DD plus 2 balance armature IEM, which brought me lots of joy on long bus rides home plugging into my iPod. My commute to work was at least an hour on good days and could stretch to nearly 2 hours when traffic was bad. A decade later, we have the DK3001BD, which takes me back to those days with the DN2000. I first tried the DK3001BD at Shenzhen International Audio Show back in September, and even in its prototype stage, it left a lasting impression. Now, today, I have the final version in the studio. Starting off with an unboxing, the DK3001BD comes in a box with a textured white sleeve, the IEM name displayed prominently in the center. There are also the Chinese words Chao Meng, which translates to literally super dream, and in this translation called BRAINDANCE by Dunu. This name reminds me of the BRAINDANCE in Cyberpunk 2077, where the main character enters a dreamlike reality through his consciousness that is plugged into the machine. I think this captures Dunu's vision for the listening experience. Removing the sleeve reveals a bright orange box, and inside the earphones are set securely in foam. The box includes a large white carrying case with mesh pouches inside it for added protection, and additional jacks for the Dunu interchangeable plug system. There is also a pouching cloth for you to clean your IEMs or your glasses with. Dunu has packed in an impressive variety of ear tips, 5 types in total, including their popular SNS ear tips, candy ear tips, as well as balance, atmospheric and foam options as well. Build quality. The design of the DK3001BD has a futuristic EVA-like look, which I find refreshing compared to the glittery finishes that we have seen a lot of late. It's crafted from aluminum, but instead of the usual anodizing, it has a zirconium ceramic coating, resulting in a unique matte finish. For connection, you can either choose the MMCX or 2-pin option. Mine is in MMCX. This versatility lets you use a range of third-party cables. For me, if you want to buy this, choose the one that you have most cable with. Don't go with the odd one out, otherwise you have to change your setup all over again. Please don't do that. The DK3001BD features a tri-brid driver setup, 1 dynamic driver, 4 balance armatures, and 4 planar drivers. For those curious, the planar drivers are the micro-planar type, which looks similar to balance armatures but differ in the way they produce sound. The cable here shares a similar design with other Dunu models like the Kima 2, with a fabric cover section from the interchangeable plug portion to the splitter, and a twisted section leading from the splitter to the MMCX or 2-pin connectors. You get both 3.5mm and 4.4mm jacks with the earphone, and the cable itself is made from Furukawa, a renowned name in cable making. Comfort. The chassis is slightly on the larger side, but it does fit me well. The nozzle is a bit wide, but typical ear tips should still fit on them rather comfortably. The cable is easy to handle and does not tangle, making the overall ergonomics pretty good. Sound. So the DK3001BD has a neutral tuning with elevated sub-bass. This is quite a rare configuration in 2024. Neutral tunings are, well, a bit tricky to get right, since it leaves very little room for added color to make the sound a bit more interesting. This is where technical performance becomes essential, and Dunu has done a smart job of having just a tad bit more of sub-bass to make the neutral sound a bit friendlier for more listeners. Bass. The DK3001BD bass focuses on sub-bass but does not neglect mid-bass, which tapers off quickly for a clean, high-resolution sound that avoids too much warmth. The sub-bass is quick, dynamic, and offers excellent resolution. You can hear the strength of the bass when it drops in Rosie and Bruno Mars' new song APT, where it provides a rhythmic pulse without muddying the mids. Mid-bass also contributes to this clean and transparent experience. Mid-range. In a neutral tuning, vocals are usually perceived as more forward since our ears are more sensitive to mid-range frequencies. The graph indeed does show a flat response with a slight lift at 3K. And the DK3001BD offers great detail, treating both male and female vocals evenly without highlighting one over the other. Instruments also sound crisp, enhancing positional accuracy. Treble. The treble is spacious and well extended, striking a balance that prevents it from sounding harsh. Unlike many IEMs with elevated upper mids, which some might find shouty, the DK3001BD delivers a refined and smooth treble that gives clarity without overpowering other frequencies. Next up, soundstage. When it comes to width and height, the thing with neutral tuning style is that when it's done right, it has the potential for greater width and height perception, and the DK3001BD accomplishes just that. Depth and positioning. Depth is largely aided by the fast and dynamic bass response, which is great here. Positioning again with the very refined treble performance, it aids in pinpoint positioning in the music mix. Next up, some comparisons. So firstly, versus the SIMGOT EM10. Now the SIMGOT EM10 is the counterpoint to the Dunu DK3001BD. Instead of the neutral tuning of the Dunu, the SIMGOT is certainly colored warm that will provide a deliciously large vocal performance. The great thing about the EM10 is that while warm, it still has very good levels of resolution that rivals the DK3001BD, but due to the warmth, it is not as apparent. The DK3001BD is more obvious when it comes to technical prowess, but the EM10 isn't a slouch either. Both these IEMs are vastly different. If you are craving for a warmer listen, then the EM10 will be the pick, but if you want accuracy and resolution, then the DK3001BD would be the better option. Next up, versus IO Audio's SOGNO. Now the IO Audio SOGNO is the second IEM from IO Audio and impresses with the amount of accessory that it gives, even more impressive than the DK3001BD. Sonically, it has more of a familiar V shape with elevated mids that is powered with 2 dynamic drivers plus 6 balance armatures. Differences between the SOGNO and the Dunu would be in the mid-range. Vocals would be a bit more forward by comparison in the SOGNO. However, I found that in terms of resolution, it is actually a little bit better on the Dunu. Next up, some things I like and do not like about the Dunu DK3001BD. Firstly, I love the finish. It is a breath of fresh air compared to $3 Ladyboy jewelry. Its tuning is also quite a rarity in 2024, making it a little bit more unique. Lastly, there are tons of accessories that is provided. Some things that I do not like. So one thing that's quite obvious is that the shell is a bit larger than normal, so that's one thing that might not fit some people. And the second thing that I think it's a little bit of a pity would be that the nozzle, it's actually a little bit big. It's not ridiculously big, but it's slightly bigger than the norm, so it might be a point of contention for people with smaller ear canals. And lastly, ratings. When it comes to packaging, it has basically excellent presentation. It gives you many awesome ear tips such as the SNS and Candy and 3 others, so it's basically exceptional. When it comes to build quality, this is a very well crafted with a sleek zirconia ceramic finish, a solid A. When it comes to bass is fast, dynamic with high resolution. I give it an 8 out of 10. Mid-range, it's balanced, detailed and very clear, another solid 8. Treble is airy and its extension is actually excellent, so it gets an 8.5. Resolution, this is one very resolving earphone, so it gets a solid 8. When it comes to soundstage, it excels in both width, height and positioning, so it gets a very solid 8. And lastly, the enjoyment factor. The DK3001BD has a very unique tuning, which makes it a breath of fresh air, appealing to really seasoned listeners. It gets very close to a S rating, but deserves a very solid A+. And finally, in conclusion, the DK3001BD brings something fresh to the IEM market with its mature, neutral tuning and highly technical performance. If you're interested in a unique sound, this is one certainly worth checking out. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the review. Please like and subscribe and let me know what is your favorite IEM in the comment sections below. See you guys soon.